Hello my spooky friends, it's Stacy here. Today I got another fun beginner tutorial for you to try. This one is super budget friendly because you don't need multi-chrome liners or anything that I use to create this look. Just pick your own favorite eyeshadow and you could begin to create this look today. Another thing that makes it super affordable is that I went out into my yard and found some items that I used to create this look. Now the teeth I created a while back, I'll have links in the description that you can make your own teeth. Very affordable and beginner friendly to make those monster teeth and any other type of teeth that you wish. So take a look in the description, and also to save a little bit more money, I do have a link for cosplay contacts. So check that out, grab your items, and let's just go ahead and get into it. For the butterflies I created for this look, I had this big silver maple tree in my yard that I planted 18 years ago, and every spring they have these samara seeds that have these small delicate details, and a lot of people call them helicopter seeds because the shape and the way they look when they're falling in the air. Now to create these butterflies, I cut these seeds off the bottom and pushed them out, and with a little bit of glue I started making shapes into butterflies. I had to cut some of them down to make them a little bit smaller because I knew they were going in my hair, and I always make more than what I need, but these things are extremely delicate, so I also glued these gem stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree to make them look more like butterflies, and then with a little bit of baby's breath for the antenna, they were complete. Also, since they are going into the hair, I glued a bobby pin onto the back using a toothpick to keep the tension so I wouldn't touch and use them and break them. And I took push pins and pushed them into the styrofoam to make them more easily portable. Using a light foundation, I use NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I did block out my eyebrows first, but I don't have that on camera because I'd have a tutorial dedicated to eyebrow blocking where you need just to block them out and also color correct them. I'll have that link into the description box. And I carry my foundation all over face, ears, and neck. And with colored foundation of purple, I'm using from Indie Beat Cosmetics. I place that in for my contour, above in the hairline, and also into the cheek area. But the purple I wanted to be a little bit more deep, so I added some blue onto this and buffed that in using a blender sponge. Now, I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to do with this look, so Spring Fairy, I wanted to bring in a bunch of color, so the iridescence and the glowiness of a fairy that's out in the elements, so I was thinking butterflies and insects, and I went through with a little bit of eyeshadow. I like to etch out my shades before I become completely dedicated with harsh lines. So I created these big, huge arches above my natural eyebrow, going above it and below it. And with Wet n Wild's liquid eyeliner, I went through and created these shapes. I was thinking like a butterfly wing, but I didn't want this to be a butterfly fairy because I've done one of those before. So I'm just going in with some shapes that I can create to bring the center of focus to the eyes in the center of the face, with the design on the chest that goes up into the face, and then the butterflies I wanted to lead the eye straight in and focusing on the center. Now once I'm happy with the shapes I've created, I go back in with the liquid liner and I get everything darkened up. I want to buff those out, but I also want to have a line that gives you an actual shape. So once I went through and up under the eyebrow and above the eyebrow lines, I get those marked out and I start to push eyeshadow along the way. And then this is just a purple that I'm using to buff out the harsh lines, so I still have a dark line, but I'm buffing it to make it a little bit more softer. And then with the pink, I go in to give it more of a glowy type of feel and add extra dimension to the colors itself, so it doesn't look so two-dimensional on the face. It's supposed to be like this blendable, fun, whimsical. She's, a spring fairy, but she's also evil, like, she might bite you. I am now using GAVISSI's Beauty TECHNICHROME flakes. These don't require any adhesive to be able to use them, but they are flakes with a multi-chrome to them. So this goes in between a blue and a green tint shift to it. but they are flakes, so you have to get it out of the pot and you have to tap it on and then smooth it out with your brush. And because I have that purple base on the eyebrows, it gives a more of a dark blue, less green shift to it, but once I put that on my eyelids, you see that it's a little bit more intense and green. Now another water liner that's multicolored is this dragon color from GAVISSI Beauty as well, and I kind of push that up around into the eyelid. I continue contouring with my purple onto the neck and the collarbone, and using GLISTEN Cosmetics, I'm using a blonde mascara for my bottom liner as a primer, and then I use just some regular black mascara on the top because I'm using lashes later, and then I tap in on that blonde, this teal green, so it shows up better. Now I like colored mascaras because sometimes I don't want to deal with false lashes, and you are someone that doesn't like false lashes either, it's a great alternative. Now going back and forth with eyelash glue and these gem stickers I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I have small stickers, I had the round ones, and I just collected all the stickers I had to make this fun using purples and pinks to put those all over to the face. Now it's time to attach my elf ears, and I got these as a pack off of Amazon. These actually attach to the back of the ear, so I'm putting liquid latex and tissue paper into the gap from behind the ear, and with just a little bit of tissue paper going up around the back of the ear just for an extra added security. Now once everything is dry, I go in with my foundation and a brush, and I get those colored in, tissue paper, my ear, and the actual elf ear. And then I go in and add a little bit of purple to match the rest of the colors onto the face. Now don't get too caught up on these ears and the tissue paper and things like that. You just want to get things colored and blended because you have an opportunity to hide any imperfections by pushing your hair over into the front of them. Now I wanted this design to go again from the leading line up from the forehead, so all the way down into the chest area. And I was thinking about those iridescent colors from like beetles and other insects and the feathers and wings that you find with animals. So I just started to create whimsical, wispy designs up into the neck, and I'm using the green waterliner from GAVISSI Beauty, so it gives it that small little shift. And then I also added gem stickers to keep the design cohesive. So from the chest up to the forehead, we have multi-chrome shifts, and we also have the gem stickers. Now a little bit of contouring around the nostrils on my nose to give it more of an evil look, and add in some lines into the bridge of the nose. I then use some green highlight and put that on the cheekbone area and on the tip of the nose. And these color contacts, I do have a link in the description. And then if your eyes are like mine, every time you touch them, make sure you have that Q-tip to cover up those tears that might fall. And then I'm using these lashes that have a little gold butterfly on the tip. And the reason why I like to use my hands and my fingers to apply lashes instead of a tool is I can feel when it grabs onto the upper eyelid, and I remove my hands so I can tell that it's staying. So if you need help with that, I do also have a full tutorial about how to apply false lashes. And it's time for the lips, and I wanted to have a fuller lip, so I'm connecting that Cupid's bow with a purple eyeliner at the top, and then I'm using a matte whipped cream from NYX Cosmetics in purple. And then for some added shimmer and multi-chrome shift, I go back in with that waterliner and just tap that color in at the top and on the bottom of my lip. I then add a little bit of gloss, and then I put my butterflies in my hair, being sure to remove that toothpick. So here's the final look, an evil spring fairy with these wonderful shifts and multi-chromes and these big, huge monster teeth. She's cute, but she might lead you astray. But if you're looking for something a little bit more beautiful and less evil, why not hang out and check out this butterfly queen look I created along with this headpiece. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.